Now in this section of the repair, I am going to start on the roof repair. And part of it is going to be, as I mentioned, I'm not going to install the curb for the skylight until I get some type of roofing paper under here. So here we have some of the roofing nails. These are the ones with the washers on them. And then the base coat. So I have two different types of materials here that we're going to use, a base and what they refer to as a ply. Some refer to it as an interply. So we are going to install the base first. And of course the skylight again. I'm trying to give you an idea of what the skylight looks like. Here, and these are going to be the holes that you use to attach the skylight to the curb, the 2x4 that goes around the perimeter of the opening. And these screws right here needed to be removed. I needed to remove these and take this upper frame off, and then of course that allowed me to take the blue protected material off also. So here we have it. And this roofing project, this part of it, I want to say took me about 3 weeks. I just took my time. This is the beginning of July in California, so I'm not too worried about rain. Even though after I put the first coating on, what I was done with on the first day, it was probably waterproofed, and if it was going to rain, wouldn't have been a problem. So another view of it there. So basically what I'm doing is cutting pieces of the base and sliding it in. So remember, there are nails that are placed accordingly, and some of these nails were right here. And if they're too close, you might need to notch some of the ply around it or remove the nails. But I'm just kind of sliding it in. Some of this stuff I slid back about 4 inches. Some of it just went back about 1 inch. And of course, I'm relying on the tar to work its way underneath here to help seal it also. So this whole thing right here, I've already tested it. It rained and it was fine. And I think I'm making the video. It is the last day of September 2019 here that I'm making the video. And I think it only rained once, but it held up. The big finale will be when it pours for an hour or maybe 5 hours, something like that. But you can just see sliding it under the best I can. And the base is going to allow for, if they remove the roofing, basically, it's not going to be stuck to the plywood here or the sheathing. So that's definitely going to be a big plus if that's the case. Sometimes the tar is actually stuck to the sheathing, and that creates a problem. But again, just work my way around. And I think you can see, I believe I already cut this right here, cut the materials out so that I can now attach the frame. But, you know, I wouldn't have been able to get these pieces in if this box was here. It wouldn't have been as easy. So just keep that in mind if you have something that needs to slide under an area where you might have an obstacle that could be installed later would be in the way. Check it for square, and you can do that by simply hooking over each corner and measuring. And you can see here where it is. I think I changed it. Nope. Let's go back. So here I'm measuring it in this direction. Let's just say that it was 30 inches to the point here. And if I measure from the farthest point to here, and it's 30 inches, then it will be square. If not, you'll need to move it until it is square. And this, most of your skylights are going to be square. So if this is out of square, it could be a problem when installing your skylight later. So there it is. I just nailed it in from the inside to, you can see here where we have a joist. So I hit the joist. If you just nail it into the side here, you might not hit anything. So try and get a joist or use some smaller nails or even some building hardware if you're worried about it. But don't forget the drywall is also going to hold this together a little bit. And simply add a little more of the base. And I'm not too worried, even though I lapped this going in this direction. You know, the water's going to be running off in this direction. So you're going to want to try and have the ply down here first and have this lapping over it. The next piece laps over that. These pieces, of course, lap over that if you can. I don't really know if it'd make that much of a difference for something like this because the tar is basically going to ooze into these areas. And you can see here where the base pieces are underneath it here. And I have cut my metal. Take a look at how I cut the metal. This is going to, this is the bottom piece. And these pieces will lap over it. So this one's going to be installed first, and then the two sides, and then this. And it will simply lap over each one. So here's the bottom one. No, this is the top one here. Don't want to get too confused here, because I did put some tar down. And hopefully I show you the installation process. So I put some tar down, and this is something a roofer might not do. I did it because I'm trying to protect myself as much as I can from any leaks. And this sure seemed like a good way to do it. So put the tar around it. If you're using hot mop, I'm using a cold process material. Simply go down to your roofing material supply place. I don't know if you're going to be able to find this at your local home improvement center. They might sell you the wrong stuff. I went down to a roofing supply place where I live, and they gave me the good stuff. And the guy actually set me up. You know, I know a lot about construction, but I've never worked with these kind of materials before. And this is actually the second time I used this. And so far, so good. Haven't had any leaks. First piece is going to go on, and you can see here where this piece is going to be here. The next one will lap over it. And then the next piece, which is going to be bent like this, is going to come around here. So a lot of times you can put adhesive around here and then put the flashing on, but I don't know if I did that. So this is the side piece, right? Side piece, looking at it. No, that was the bottom piece it looked like. Okay, bottom piece, I'm putting the tar over it, tar over the corner. But again, I don't think I put any tar on the side. I didn't, so there's no tar over there. Wouldn't have been a bad idea to do that, something I should have done. Put some caulking, maybe not tar, but get some a good sealant or adhesive for this area. So you can see here where the next piece goes on. This one laps over the metal, and this one here bends around the metal. And this is a pretty common way to flash these Skylight frame box. I already forgot the name. Oh yeah, curb. Okay, we're back to a curb. So here we have the bottom piece, the side piece, and then now we're getting ready to put the top piece on. And there is the top piece. I put a nail in there to hold it down. Sometimes you put this metal in and it's bent, it's kind of sticking up. If that's the case, you're going to have to put some nails in it. If you don't have to put any nails in this, don't put any nails in it. And again, it's just my suggestion. If you want to put the nails into it, you can see where I put some nails in on the side here to help hold it down. But sometimes you put a nail in here and it pops this up. So if I nail this tight, you can see where this isn't nailed. There's a gap here. If I was to nail that, it would pull this up tight. Well, I can nail this after, if I want to, after I seal all of this with the tar and get some weight over it. And now I'm going to start with my ply, the interply here. And again, I'm not too worried about running this in different directions because the tar will basically go through this. It goes through this. You can see it. It's a, you can actually see through it. If you hold it up to a light, you can see that it's got kind of like a fiberglass mesh and allows the tar to go through it. And you're simply going to just keep adding layers of this to the, and building it up during each stage of the process, which of course you'll see here. And I slid this under here. If you can slide it under, great. If you can't, so be it. So again, have a section of it ready and nail it down. Now I'm only nailing the bottom down. I'm not going to nail the next plies down. And of course you need to use these nails with washers on them. And this, I believe, was a metal. These were all metal nails and washers. Sometimes you get them where they're plastic, and I don't know if that would be a big deal for this. But again, ask your roofing supplier. And this right here was a material, and again, I'm not here to provide you with product information because I don't want the liability that goes with that. But this was, I believe, an elastomeric tar and cold process. You just poured this stuff on and it oozed into all the cracks and crevices and really worked great. So here you can see where basically the metal got nailed through it here anyway, but I don't think I did it on the front. And then put the piece of the ply down here, and I already got the tar on it. And remember, the metal is already installed here. Another view of it there. There's my trusty paintbrush I used to spread the tar around. You can use a bigger brush if you want. And it looks like I put the tar down and then nailed it. So that's something I might have done. I might have done this in sections also, because you can see where the tar is underneath this and this piece went over it. I am definitely, when it comes to this, put more insurance the better. You know, if you can put more stuff down and have it stick, or it's kind of like you got one layer of protective surface, 2 layers, 3 layers, and so on, then I say go for it. Next up on the list will be to pour some of the tar out onto the surface, and then of course you can just use your brush to move it around. And I am going to actually create, or I did film this, and I'm going to do some videos that won't be the slideshow. And of course I'll put a link here to it or somewhere. By then I'll probably forget about putting my link in there, but just kind of spread it around with your paintbrush, or if you have something else you want to use, a roller maybe, whatever you want to use. And I was simply I wasn't cleaning this. I just threw each paintbrush away that I used. I don't want to get into what a nightmare that would have been. So I got some cheap paintbrushes. And basically that is it for this. This is the first day at it, and I will put a link to the next video here, or the next video, and that will be another slideshow.